I want to start by saying this very clearly. The galaxy was not prepared for them. It had barely adjusted to the idea that a human soldier married a space dragon. Entire empires were still arguing over whether that counted as a diplomatic incident or a bizarre medical mystery. And then the children were born. 4 of them. And suddenly, reality itself needed a brand new set of insurance policies. Their home floated serenely above a fracture world, a place where magic and science had finally stopped arguing and just agreed to coexist out of mutual exhaustion. Their father, Elias Ward, was a human. A damn good soldier, but still just a human. Their mother, Astralix, was a cosmic dragon. And their grandmother, Valthera, was a celestial threat with very strong opinions. The children? They were complicated. Let me introduce them properly before one of them accidentally sets something on fire again. First, we have Lyrax, the oldest and loudest. Lyrax inherited his mother's magnificent wings and his father's equally magnificent mouth. At 17, he was tall, lean, with scales shimmering like starlight along his shoulders and a grin that strongly suggested trouble was already happening somewhere nearby. Lyrax could fly. This was deeply unfortunate for everyone else. He used flight the way most people use sarcasm, constantly and often inappropriately. One morning, Elias shielded his eyes as his son dive-bombed the courtyard. "Lyrax," he shouted, "you are not allowed to race meteor showers." "Lyrax, he showers." Lyrax just hovered there, upside down, that grin plastered on his face. "I wasn't racing," he called back. "I was winning." From a nearby mountain, Valthera watched and laughed so hard an entire continent shifted a few degrees. Next up is Sirin, the responsible one. Allegedly, Sirin looked almost entirely human, which had a tendency to make people relax. This was always their second mistake. She was 15, sharp-eyed, impossibly calm, and possessed a dragon's temper that was just carefully folded into a human frame. She didn't breathe fire. She simply decided when things burned, usually socially. Sirin handled the family's diplomacy. When nosy alien envoys came to observe the hybrid offspring, Sirin would greet them with polite smiles and subtle, chilling threats. "No," she'd say sweetly, "my brother won't eat you." Unless you insult our mother, then she'd lean in and add quietly, "or our father, or our grandmother, or us, or the house." Then there's Kaya, the menace. Kaya was 12. Kaya breathed fire. Kaya loved books. And Kaya believed that rules were merely suggestions for people who lacked imagination. She once tried to summon a minor star entity just because she wanted to see if it would answer. It did. Elias spent the next 3 hours profusely apologizing to a very offended celestial being while Kaya just sat there, calmly taking notes. Her mother, Astra, absolutely adored her. Her grandmother, Valthera, actively encouraged her. The universe trembled. And finally, there's Orin, the quiet one. He was the youngest, and by far the most dangerous. He didn't fly much. He didn't talk much. He certainly didn't set things on fire. He just watched. Stars seemed to bend slightly around him when he concentrated. The very laws of probability would adjust themselves, just a little, to make him more comfortable. When anyone asked him what he was thinking, Orin would usually just say, "Too many futures." People stopped asking after a while. Family dinners were a survival challenge. They were loud. Lyrax would argue with Kaya about celestial mechanics. Siren would moderate, trying to prevent a diplomatic incident at the dinner table. Oren would just stare into the middle distance, contemplating realities we can't even imagine. And Elias, their father, would just try to eat his meal without being accidentally set on fire. Astra would listen, a deep, rumbling amusement in her chest. One evening, their grandmother, Valthera, enormous and radiant, loomed nearby. She leaned down and said to Elias, "You survived galactic wars, little flame." Elias nodded. "Yes, ma'am." She gestured with her snout. "And yet, you look more afraid now." Elias glanced over at Kaya, who was experimentally trying to light her fork on fire with her breath. "Yes, ma'am," he sighed. "Every family has an incident. Theirs involved a pirate armada, a galactic misunderstanding, and Lyrics accepting a dare he probably shouldn't have. The pirates believed the children were merely symbolic heirs, soft targets. They attempted a kidnapping. They failed, badly. Lyrics single-handedly disabled 3 of their capital ships mid-flight. Siren negotiated their unconditional surrender with terrifying politeness. Chaos set something important on fire, this time completely on purpose. And Oren? Oren simply erased the pirates' escape routes by subtly making hyperspace. Inconvenient for them. Astra arrived halfway through the skirmish. She found her children standing calmly among the wreckage. "Did you handle this yourselves?" she asked, a note of surprise in her voice. "Yes," Siren replied, dusting off her hands. Lyrics piped up, "Should we have waited?" Astra paused, a slow, draconic smile spreading across her face. "No," she said. "No, you shouldn't have." That night, Elias gathered them all. "You are all incredibly powerful," he said, his voice serious. "And that means you must be careful." Kaya, of course, raised her hand. Careful like don't burn things down careful, or careful like only burn the right things down careful. Elias just sighed. "We'll workshop that." From the background, Valthera nodded approvingly. As they grew, they didn't become conquerors, as many had feared. They became balances. Lyrics became a renowned scout and protector of unstable, dangerous regions of space. Siren joined the ranks of interstellar diplomacy and terrified warlords into peace with her unnerving kindness. Kaya became a master scholar of dangerous forbidden things, ensuring they were never misused, and Oren became, well, something no one could quite define. A quiet guardian of futures, a silent watcher on the walls of reality. And their father, Elias? He watched them all, proud, exhausted, and incredibly happy. You see, the galaxy feared dragons. It vastly underestimated humans. It never, ever accounted for children who were both. But those 4 problems, those 4 kids, they grew up knowing love before they understood power, and laughter before they were given a legacy. And that, strangely enough, saved more worlds than fire and fury ever could. Which brings me to my final observation. If you're ever traveling the spaceways and you happen to encounter 4 individuals arguing mid-orbit, one glowing, one flying recklessly, one clutching a book on forbidden magic, and one just quietly adjusting probability to his liking, just be polite. They are someone's kids. And trust me, their grandmother is watching. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more.